Well, hello, everyone. I am so excited to have a guest today. I have Heather Hammell, who is an amazing coach and one of my clients. We're going to be talking about all of the amazing ways that she uses Airtable to track her client results. Heather, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. I have the live chat pulled up. So if you are here live, make sure that you use the live chat because at the end of this, we do a giveaway for one of my Airtable templates. So you'll be able to pick any of the templates in our template shop to be able to win. So the more times you comment, the more likelihood you are to get picked. So go ahead and ask me questions about Airtable. You can ask Heather about any of the things that she's talking about. So Heather, let's get started. Why don't you tell us about what you do and what the group programs that you have
Awesome. Well, I'm Heather Hammell. I am the MFR coach. I coach therapists who have been trained in a modality called myofascial release to get fully booked in their businesses and never under earn or burn out. So I have two programs that I do that through. I have a foundational program. It's a 12-month group coaching program where we have live coaching every week. And I have a self-paced course portal that people go through. They learn in that program really how to talk about how to sell MFR and how to get fully booked. And then I have a Beyond 100K mastermind that's a smaller group program, mastermind style, where people join to scale beyond 100K. And I teach them advanced sales techniques to grow their businesses to 250K. We learn how to hire people in that group, how to create second offers, and basically how to scale everything in their business and within themselves to have an easy journey to those destinations.
Amazing. I love how specific your offer is. And I'm curious too, if I know you've had some pushback on this and just your commitment to being niche down to MFR coaches. And for anybody who's am I too niche, or talk about that. Have you seen success in being so specific about the type of coaches that you're coaching?
Yeah. And I actually don't coach coaches. I coach therapists.
Therapists,
right?
That's
so these are physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, massage therapists that have had this specific myofascial release training. And they are very niched, right? They come from these various backgrounds, but they do this one modality only because we really believe that it is the missing link in healthcare, and it helps people with chronic and unexplained pain to finally break through those barriers and get the relief that they're seeking. As far as, is it too niched? I don't think so. I've coached about 200 people at this point, and I know there's well over 100,000 MFR therapists out there and more being trained every week. So I don't really see it as a place where I'm going to run out of people that I can help. Yeah, I just feel like we're at the beginning still.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's so cool about what you do. And I think also what I do too is that we are helping people help others in such a significant way. You get the things that you're teaching and the skill sets that you have are teaching other people how to change other people's lives, which is just so cool. And I think that that's one of the beautiful things about having a group coaching program is just being able to have that ripple effect. Aaron in the chat says that there's an echo. I don't hear it. Do you hear an echo? Heather?
I hear an echo. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'll put headphones in.
Yeah. Go ahead and try to put headphones in and see if that works. Thanks, Aaron, for the shout out. And we'll see if that is better. Wow. You look like a podcaster now.
Just one sec. I'm just wondering how to switch into the headphones from this.
Let's see. I see that.
Okay. Is that better? I still hear an echo.
You still hear one?
Yeah.
Do you want to try?
Is it still here? Yep.
I'm going to click remove. I'm going to see what happens. I might remove you and then, yay, Lex, welcome. We're having some sound issues on our side, but I'm going to click remove. That might kick you out, Heather. So just come back to the link and reset it and say you're using headphones. Okay. Yeah. This will end you, but you can come back. Okay.
I promise.
Yay. Awesome. So Heather was having some sound issues. Do you hear an echo on my side? Or was it just the Heather side? Anyways, Heather's coming back. If we haven't met yet, my name is Ashley and I'm an Airtable and automation expert, and I'm talking to Heather and she's back. Let's see. How's it going? Do you hear an echo on your side?
I think that's still there a little bit.
Still there? Let's see. I'm gonna wait. No, it's working, Heather, or no, it's working, Erin, or no, it's not working. We might just keep going depending on how bad it is. Erin said it's not horrible. And I have all of your screens showed up, so I could also do a lot of the talking, but I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay, so I love all of this. I want to talk about how you were tracking your results before Airtable. It looks like our echo situation is also solved. Great.
Okay, good.
So before Airtable, you were still selling it. What was just like organizational, like how are you organizing things, and specifically how were you tracking your client results?
Yeah, I just wasn't. I mean, I think I was at that place in my business where I still knew everybody's name, everybody's face. I could tell you everything about their businesses because I hadn't grown a ton at that point, right? I still had 20 people at a time, but I really wanted to grow to hundreds of people at a time. So I had to start figuring out how to track the results. I knew people were doing good, but I didn't really have any proof to provide to people and say like, well, out of these 20 people, all 20 of them are making six figures, or they're all fully booked, or whatever it was. And I didn't even know exactly which metrics I should be tracking. And that's what you helped me with.
Yeah. And that's something that I see all the time. And if you're in the chat or if you're watching the replay and you're like, I'm just not tracking my results, it's something that is so normal because a lot of us just simply didn't have the tools. We were maybe like waiting on people to like submit their wins in the Slack channel. And like, you know that you're getting people results because people are DMing you or you're still getting sales of the offer, but you don't have that like secure neutral foundation and those facts of like, here's how many of my clients make six figures. Here's how quickly they make those six figures. And so when we worked together, that was one of the first things that we really set up was like, all right, especially if you're tracking financial wins, which is such an easy thing to track and a really important thing to track, as we have another training on our YouTube about the FTC, and we had a lawyer come on and just talk about like how important legally it is. If you are making these financial claims, if you can have a six-figure business, you better have the data to back that up. And so the fact that you now have that and set it up pretty quickly, and you've been able, how long have you been using the tracking system now? It's been over a year, right?
Yeah, just over a year. I think we built it in August of 2023. So yeah, just over a year.
And at what point did you know you needed to start tracking your results? I know you said, which is something, this is like an inflection point that so many of my clients hit, is like, I can keep track of everybody in my head, but I know I'm not going to be able to if I want hundreds of clients. Was that kind of the tipping point, or was there anything specific that you're like, all right, I need to take my client results tracking seriously now?
Well, I just really wanted to have the client results as a flex, right? It's one thing to say like my clients are doing this, but to have it in a graph or in an interface where you're like, this is actually what they're doing, it's pretty amazing. And the results that we've collected blow my mind. I love sharing them with my clients because I'm like, do you guys know how much money you guys collected in the last week doing MFR only? It's quite amazing. And it's motivating for them to see how everybody is doing as well.
Yeah. And I think that that's something that we are going to get into, is creating a culture of submitting your client results, because Heather's clients submit their client results. They love to share, and we'll get into the actual numbers of how many people are submitting and all of those things. But when you rolled out this client results tracker, what was the response? And were people excited about it? Like, how did you get so many people to want to submit their results to you each week?
First of all, I think I'm just very lucky in one aspect that the clients that I work with are so willing to do everything that I ask them to do. They just are. And it works out so great. And then secondly, I put it out there and I just say, this is the reason why I'm doing this. Will you fill this form out? And I'm very honest and transparent with them about how we're using the data and how the data is for them and not against them. Because I think for some people that are just starting their business and they don't have these huge numbers to report, it can be a little bit intimidating, and maybe there can be some shame behind, like seeing how other people are doing, compare and despair. So just letting them know that it's safe for them to report their numbers. It's anonymous, and that it's for the greater good of what we're building. And so we can prove to people that they can actually make money being an MFR therapist, it helps them to be motivated to do it. We also have like a reward system too. Like if they submit their weekly report and they hit 10K in a rolling 30 days, they're going to get an extra call with me. So there's reason we incentivize it too.
Yeah. And those types of things and ways to incentivize are really cool and also only possible inside of Airtable. I'm going to share your weekly report form now. And for a lot of the people that are maybe watching the replay or in the live, they're going to be like, oh, I could build this in Google Forms, or I could build this in Typeform. You can't. Like, it looks like you can, but the stuff you can do with the data, which we aren't going to show all of the things, we'll just kind of talk about it holistically, because we don't want to show Heather's like back-end client names and everything, but I'll just share with you kind of some of the things that we can do knowing that all of this data lives inside of Airtable. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share this window here. So here is tangibly what Heather's foundation coaching program weekly update form looks like. So she can have the students select their name from a student dropdown. If you can't have student names revealed, you can just do first name, last name, email, and it would be able to like link it on the back end. So, but if you do have a group program, a lot of times you can do a dropdown like that. She has select the week that you're reporting for. What's the cash you collected for the week? How many clients did you see this week? What's your fully booked number? Because that is Heather's program promise to get them fully booked. Were you fully booked? Yes or no? And then what actions have you taken this week to help you move the needle? And is there anything you'd like private coaching on or feedback for? And I know, Heather, you're looking at these numbers every week, but I'm also assuming you're really like this, like what would you like private coaching on or feedback for? And like what action did you take? This qualitative information is probably so helpful for you when you're popping onto coaching calls or when you're thinking about trainings. Tell me about this form and like what clarity it gives your business as you're like looking at these numbers and this data each week.
Yeah, for the students that really utilize these forms, they are rewarded in the fact where they can get a private coaching response from a coach, either me or my co-coach, every single week, and no one else has to know that they're getting coached on it. So we collect that data in that bottom block, and then you've set up my interface where I just literally type right into the interface and it goes out in an email back to them, makes it super simple. As far as collecting other data, the other question that we ask is the action that they've taken. So we're able to see how they're using our online course, how they're using the coaching in the Facebook, how they're using the coaching that they got on a live call, and whether or not that's enough to help them. So if something is missing, I'm able to quickly create that content for them or a lesson or live coach them on the next weekly call so we can take care of any issues that are coming up. Sometimes people get stuck and it seems like there's kind of a theme where everybody is stuck in compare and despair, or everybody is stuck on their rates, or everybody is stuck on client objections. We can just quickly handle all of that right away. So whenever I see a trend where 3 or more people are coming up with the same problem, we'll just take a pause and we'll either pull out a lesson that we already have and we'll highlight that, or we'll create a new lesson for them live on the call.
And that is something that I love about Airtable and using your Airtable data, is because all of this is going in the back end of a student's client profile. And Heather is able to look at this stuff week after week. A lot of the times I see, if you're not using Airtable and you're using Google Forms, you're literally asking people to fill out forms, but you're not doing anything with the data. And it is such a disservice to your clients and to all of the like amazing rich data that you're actually giving you. So I want to show you, this is the back end of one of the dashboards that we made with Heather that shows all of this incredible information. So all of this is getting populated because of the weekly updates that our clients are submitting. So this is a dashboard that can be filtered. So we're saying, I want to just look at the last 30 days of client submissions. You can see Heather has an all-time cash collected up here, $4.5 million in like cash collected. That is wild. That's incredible.
That's like in 13 months, 14 months.
Yeah. And that's just one from when we started tracking the data and to the people that are tracking. You can see in just 30 days, Heather is at 191 submissions of this. So her people are definitely using it, but not all of them. You're not always going to have 100% success rate. So like at minimum, just the stuff that we know is 4.5 million. That is incredible. And if this doesn't give you like the fire to start tracking your results ASAP, like this number would be higher if we had been tracking earlier, but this is such a cool thing to see. Mm-hmm. And Heather can pull this up when she's on coaching calls and say, if someone's spiraling about, is MFR dead? Like that's something that I think happens in so many of our industries. Like no one's making money at this anymore or whatever. And you can pull up this and say, no, in the last 30 days, this community has submitted over $300,000 in cash collected. 84 of our students have made their money back in the program. The average weekly cash collected is $1,500. All of these numbers are being able to be pulled and automatically rolling totals because she has very specific questions that she's having her people fill out every week, which is just so, so cool to see.
Yeah. And the other cool thing is where you look at that box that says average number of clients seen per week. You know, when therapists first start to work with me, they think that success is 20 to 40 clients a week and working their asses off. And I teach them like, actually, no, you could see 10 clients or 12 clients and be making six figures and not have to burn yourself out physically, mentally, or emotionally. And you can still cash flow quite well. I mean, look at the numbers. So I love being able to prove that that is an actual real thing here.
Yeah, that's incredible. And it's just like incredible to see that like your people have helped 1,900 people in the last 30 days. Like they like have these MFR services and just like your program is literally changing people's lives. And I think that I get really heated when people say that the coaching industry is a scam, coaching programs are scams. It's like, that's such a blanket statement that is so wholly untrue. And when you have systems like this that you can very clearly see, if you are in a group program that's using my Airtable systems and like you're in a group program that has a coach that really cares about the result that they're promising, you can feel the difference. Like this question, what do you want private feedback on? What actions have you taken? You can tell that Heather cares about her clients and that she's going to use this data to make better trainings, to help you move the needle, and just to really commit to helping you get your clients better results, which I just think is so, so powerful.
Yeah, you better believe it. Like if my clients are not getting results, I'm not doing my job. If they're not getting fully booked, like something is going wrong. I feel like I'll be able to predict that way ahead of time and create curriculum, create special trainings, do whatever is needed to make sure that everybody crosses that line. Right now we have 98 active members in this foundations program, and I'm very proud to say that 84 of them have made their money back already. Some of them just joined the program, so we'll give them a little bit more time to make their money back, but I want to see that number as high as possible. If you're making money in the program, you're making your money back and you're helping your clients to get results too.
Yeah. And Erin says, I need to be better actually using my data. How often are you looking at the data that your clients are submitting, and how is that influencing how you market and then also how you deliver the program?
I look at it at least every week. Sometimes I look at it several times a week. I also collect client wins. So I have I think over 200 client wins, and I'm able to directly send those off to my design team, and they can make those into social proof for Instagram, for my website, wherever we want it, right? So that's very helpful. And also if I'm having like just a crappy week where I don't feel like a good coach, or I question my authority to be doing this at all, or who do I think I am, I just go read all of those wins, and it lights a fire in me. It reinvigorates my ability to create curriculum and to show up in my full power for my clients. Because when I'm feeling sorry for myself, no one wants to get coached by me, right? So I try to not spend any time in that energy, and more in like, look at what we've created, and so much more is possible. And this is still just the beginning of this program. Anything is possible. You know, I had clients that it was the first big deal to be fully booked, and then it was the first big deal to hit that six-figure mark. And now we've got clients that are hitting the 250K mark. And I didn't even know that was a thing that we should be striving for until I knew that was a thing we should be striving for. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I love all of that. I think that that's something too, when you have a program promise and you're tracking your results, you get to see like, oh my gosh, I was telling people that they can make a 6-figure business, but actually they can have multi-6-figure business. Like your data like helps you see like maybe sometimes this does happen where you're like, wow, my results are so far away from the result that I'm promising. So you can either work on the curriculum to get it to like be better and get your clients better results, or you're surpassing the results that you even promised in the first place. I see that a lot when people say, oh, you can set up these systems in 90 days. And it actually takes the average client 30 days to fill it out. So like you can kind of adjust your program promises as you see the results, which I think is really cool.
It's exactly how I created the program promise for my mastermind, was based on these results people were getting and then what was next, right? And then what did I need to do to teach people to get what was next?
Yep. Beautiful. And just to show this other wins form. So if you've Airtable, you can have multiple forms, and all of these forms are going to link to a student's client profile. So you could pop open Ashley's client profile and see all the wins she's ever submitted and all of the weekly updates that she's ever submitted. What Airtable does is we just looked at the interface kind of on a rolling level, but you can also look at it on a per client basis. So you can see, when is the last time that Ashley submitted her weekly report? How much total cash has just Ashley collected? That's really helpful. And Heather, I'm curious how you use it on a per client basis, but you can automate. I think you've mentioned something like this in the past. Like if a client hasn't submitted their weekly report in 2 weeks, Airtable can automatically send them a custom email saying, hey, looks like you haven't submitted the weekly report in a while. Please go ahead and fill that out. Or if you say, hey, oh my gosh, you have just made your money back in this program, Airtable is automatically tallying that on a per client basis. So it can automatically alert and celebrate the students when they've hit the program promise. This happens automatically without a VA having to go look at the data and be like, oh my gosh, like, look, they hit it. Let me go send them an email. All of this stuff can happen automatically. So how are you using some of those data points on a per client basis to either remind the clients or to celebrate them?
Yep. So we have a weekly email that's triggered every Sunday that says, hey, fill out your weekly report. All right. And people do, obviously. And then we also have those automations where once they make their money back, they get an automated email. When they hit 10K in 30 days rolling, they get an automatic email, and then they get invited to a special call with me as a bonus. And then once they hit 100K in 12 months, or I think all time as well, they'll get an email that says, hey, just letting you know you hit 100K. And we're celebrating you. And the fun thing is I kind of forget those automations are there, but they come into our private group Facebook page, and they let us know that they got that email. So it's really fun to see people so excited to get those emails. And I think they really do feel like it comes directly from me.
And that is huge, because when you are growing a group program, you said you have like 98 people in your offer. They want to feel like you still care about them and you still know them, and they're not just a number in a big sea. I think that's the biggest complaint that I see when people are like, I joined a mastermind, but there's 50 people in it. And like, it's like, I don't like know the coaches anymore. And it's like, those people are not using Airtable and our tracking systems effectively then, because really as your group program grows, it should be getting bigger and better. And the fact that your clients, you don't even know necessarily that these emails are going out, but they're still feeling like you're celebrating them. That is just so huge. And that is like the power of Airtable and the power of these client tracking systems, is that you set it up to celebrate them, and then it automatically goes. Because a lot of the times people might be filling out these trackers, but they don't even know when they hit 6 figures. Like they're not tracking as deeply as you are. And so the fact that you can be like, hey, not sure if you know this, but like you just hit 100K is such a cool thing to do for your clients. And it really just, I think it's going to be the new system standard, but it really just shows them like how much you're like caring for them and tracking and rooting for them.
Yeah. And I do think also every time they submit, they get an email back that says how much they've submitted all time, how much they submitted that week. And to your point, where people aren't tracking maybe as hard as we are, this forces them to look at their facts and data and to really see how well they're doing. I think it's easy to forget how well you are doing. And it's nice to be reminded in this group of numbers, like, hey, everything is actually working and working in your favor. And if it's not, let us know, because we will help you figure out why, and we will stop that right in its tracks. We'll get it working.
Yes. And that type of email. So all of this stuff is possible only in Airtable and only with my client results tracking system. like this, what was your cash collected for the week? So what Airtable is doing on the back end, it's automatically summing that. So in that email confirmation, when somebody fills out this weekly update form, they're not getting a generic, thanks for filling out the form, have a good week. They are getting a targeted, like, thanks for submitting 14,732 cents in wins this week. As a total in the program, you have made 25,436. Like, Airtable is automatically pulling and calculating that and putting it in the email for the client. So right away, they're getting that positive feedback loop of like, hey, not only have we received your tracking, here's how much you just collected, here's how much you've collected over time, and like, here's how much you have left to go. There's literally so many different things you can do. You can even say, like, if their cash collected is under $1,000, you can add a little message that's like, hey, it looks like you're maybe lower than your average that you want to be at. Like, here's ways you could get extra coaching. Like, there's just so many ways you can personalize that email, but it's also automated too. Lex says, I definitely haven't been tracking my client results. This is awesome. And other people are just happy they're in the live. So we're so happy you're here. If you have any questions for us about Airtable, about client results tracking in general, what you should be tracking, let us know in the comments and we'll touch on that. But I'm so stoked about this. So I'd love for you to share when people hit the program promise, you obviously celebrate them. How has that, like, how do you celebrate them, and what's kind of that next level that they unlock in the program once they hit the program promise?
Well, we celebrate in lots of ways, where I think one thing that happens for them when they hit the program promise, which is getting fully booked, they are so confident in their ability to sell and talk about myofascial release that they end up making like their fully booked status just even bigger, if that makes sense. So maybe they're fully booked for 6 weeks, but then they learn how to amplify it and be fully booked for 12 weeks. And who do they need to become to handle the pressure of that? And then like so on and so forth. I just had a win reported today where they're like, I'm confident and able to not only pay to be in foundations, but to join the Beyond 100K Mastermind with no drama because I'm fully booked for the next 7 months. That's what I want for everyone, is so that they no longer, worry about making an investment in their business, because they know that this is going to create so much success for them and so much more money and so much less drama. Like, there's just so much more ease in their business because of the support that they're able to get. What was the other question you asked me? I forgot.
That answers that. I'm curious. I'd love to know how tracking your results in this kind of foundational program has helped your sales of your mastermind. Because it sounds like you're like, hey, you're ready for the next step.
Yeah.
You've proven you've gotten the results. Tell me about how it's just kind of organically feeding into the mastermind.
One of the requirements is that they've made $50,000 in their current MFR business in the last 6 to 12 months. So they have a record of that they can show me. And I could look up their client profile and see that they've made that money. And that automatically is one of the qualifiers for them to get into that next level of coaching. So it's kind of like, you're ready to scale once you've hit that number and you're fully booked. Those are the two markers that we go on. And then they can figure out, do I want to create a second offer? Do I want to hire someone? Or do I just want that more intensive mindset help to help me scale?
Amazing.
Yeah. Wow. Makes it easy to sell it because people qualify for it, right? And it's not unreachable.
Yeah. I want to share, one of the last things I'll share before we wrap up is I just wanted to shout out your wins form again, because we touched on it lightly, but this is something that as a service provider, you're going to see this happening more and more. You do a great job of it. Some of our other clients do a great job of it. Is like they have this wall of wins. It's just like a bunch of Instagram stories of just like wins that people are experiencing in their program. This is how people are doing that. So if you don't have, this is like, honestly, the client results tracking form there's numbers, there's roll-ups, it's a little more complicated, but even just like setting this up, it's going to really serve you in the long run. Having them share their win and then asking for permission to share the win, either with your name or anonymously. What this does for you is you can literally create just like a filtered view that Heather has her graphic designer. You could have your virtual assistant, fill out a template for it, but literally have a view of like, here's the 13 wins this week that we have the permission to share this win on our socials. And then you just have this bank of testimonials of wins that people that you can really start to blast out. And it just becomes, it like makes your marketing so much easier as well. You're really systematizing your marketing. So I just wanted to shout that out too. Of like, I don't want to gloss over how simple, but how profound the system is. So you can literally have it built into your VA's weekly operations tasks to go look at the Airtable wins and pick the ones that you can either share their name or share them anonymously and make those and post them to Instagram. So I'm sure that's helped you with your marketing as well, and having like up-to-date client wins. They're not dusty. They are like truly, truly live.
I was just using this today because I'm creating a training that I'm going to be doing in November. And so I'm just going through the wins to see which wins correlate with what I'm teaching.
Yep.
Can you hear me still?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And then figuring out from there, how do I want to share this in my presentation? And I have it all there. I have permission. I have the photo. Like, I have everything there. I don't have to take that separate step to get permission to share it.
Yep. Yeah, that's so huge. And just, again, this looks like something you can make in a Google form. I'm so anti-Google form, if you can tell, but it's because we want to have the wins and the weekly updates all connected to their client profile. So you have that one central spot where you can check everything that they've ever done with you. And this can definitely, when you're looking to do case studies for your client results on your podcast or inviting them to a YouTube live, you can look at your clients and say like, okay, here's the ones that have been super, super active. Here's who we want to invite. So there's just like so many different ways that you can use the data.
Yeah, makes it easy.
Yeah. Well, Heather, I think that's everything I had for you. I'm curious for folks who have a group program or they coach clients and they don't have a client results tracking system set up. What advice would you give to them?
What advice I would give to them is definitely work with Ashley. Definitely get an Airtable system because it will make your life so much easier. And I think sometimes we think, oh, I don't want to, invest in that because I'm not going to see the payoff right away. I think you see the payoff for it sooner than you believe is possible. At least that's been my experience, where I think every 3 months I'm like, Ashley, can you believe like I have $1 million in sales? Ashley, can you believe we're at $3 million in sales? Ashley, can you believe we're like close to hitting $6 million in sales? And having that information at your fingertips is so valuable, because anytime a client comes to you and they're concerned about the offer that you have, or they have an objection, you have all of this physical data that you can share with them. Just be like, here's behind the scenes of how people are actually doing. So I think that's like a common concern, is how are clients actually doing in this program, and what is the success rate? You want to be able to share the success and have it easily accessible, have all those numbers. And I was using Google Docs before, and I was writing things down in notebooks, but that stuff's really hard to pull up. In Airtable, I can literally just start typing a word and it pulls up what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think that answering objections too for clients and for leads of saying like, is MFR dead? Are people still getting results in this? Does Heather's program actually work, or does it just work for 3 people? But you're saying no, 84 out of the 98 people have made their ROI and then some. Having that type of stuff is just so massive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's good for the industry too, especially being in such a niche industry, being able to say people are going to become MFR therapists for the money, for how lucrative it is, not just because it feels good to help people, right? I want to transform that idea that therapists have to work for free. I think people can become therapists and be high income earners. And I'm here to make that mainstream and an okay thing to do by showing that so many people are doing it.
Yeah, I love that metric that you have, and that's so specific to your industry of like, people think that they need to have 20, 30, 40 clients to be booked out, but you're showing, no, you can make this money with an average of 10 clients. Like, that's changing people's lives, and that's just really cool to see.
Yeah.
I wanted to share in the chat, we do have a client results workshop. So I worked with Heather one-on-one. She's been a one-on-one client, but we have a client results tracking template. So everything that we just shared, you can actually totally set up in a weekend in one sitting. So if you're interested in this, you don't have something like this set up, I highly, highly recommend grabbing it. right now, if you're watching this, you can literally get the replay of the workshop for $177. It's going to be much more expensive very shortly. So be sure to grab that if you'd like, but it has the client results tracking templates in there, the wins, connecting it to your client profile, being able to submit, automate those emails to clients, like all of that stuff is right in here. So we want to make sure that if you don't have this set up, it's a requirement for coaches. It's so pretty straightforward and pretty intuitive to do, and it really, really changes your business. So we have that template, and we're now at the part of the live where we do a giveaway. So if you're still here, go ahead and comment in the chat. And what I'm going to do is pick somebody at random, and then you'll just email me or send me a DM on Instagram. I'm at Systems Over Stress to claim your template. And this is the one I would recommend you snag from us because it's going to help you. Everything that we mentioned today is absolutely what you could get set up.
That's awesome.
It's super fun. So we love our template shop. I'm like working day and night getting this template shop ready. But we're so excited to be here. Okay, awesome. All right, I'm going to close my eyes, do the thing. This is my very scientific way to do this. And let's see, Lex, awesome. Lex Campbell, you're our winner. So go ahead and DM me on Instagram. I'm at Systems Over Stress. We'll get you all set up with a free slot in the client results template. And I'm going to put it in the chat for y'all too. If you want to grab it, highly recommend. And Heather, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for showing off your client results and being such an amazing case study and really, really caring about your clients and being just a testament of like a good coach. We need more good coaches just to prove that this is like a beautiful, beautiful place to be. So thank you for being here.
There's lots of good coaches.
There's so many good coaches.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.